Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Your reaction to yesterday's news that you're headed to the Columbus Blue Jackets?
Yeah, I think it happened pretty quickly. I feel last night, touchdown in Chicago, and I felt like it was kind of a whirlwind. But I'm very excited to go to a team that's right in the hunt of the playoffs, and will be a good team for the foreseeable future. And a little closer to home, but obviously there were some emotions last night with the guys, and I had some guys in my room late last night just to say goodbye. But you've gone through a lot of those, but now you're the guy getting traded. It's a lot different.
Just your thoughts on your time, the 5 years you spent in Vancouver. How will you look back at that?
I feel like I kind of grew up there. I think that's a cliche thing to say, but I got married, had a child, and just almost turned 30 there. So it was a very fun time in my life, very exciting. Made a lot of great friendships with guys on the team, people in the organization, and people around the city. So just a really special time. I was so excited to come there, in the summer of 2021, and just a really, really enjoyable 5 years for me.
Connor, we've run video of Game 1 versus Edmonton. Less than 2 years ago, you scored that big winning goal in the third period, a big comeback. Does that seem like, given everything this organization has been through, does that seem like yesterday or a million years ago?
Yeah, it definitely seems like a long time ago. I try not to watch that goal because, I got to live it and I got to experience that building and the reaction from the fans. So I think when you watch it, you kind of, you don't feel it as much. You're just watching through a video. So special goal, special year that year. It was a fantastic team that came up short. But yeah, obviously a lot has changed since that run, and it definitely feels like a long time ago. A lot of players have come in and out since then.
Hey, Connor, it wasn't long ago you signed to Vancouver 6x6, and here we are 9 months later, you're gone. How did this all come about, Connor?
Well, I signed with the intention of playing here for the next 7 years, but our team went in a different direction. We underperformed this year. We had some bad breaks early, but we could never really get on a run this year. And we moved guys out. Obviously, we traded Quinn and Kiefer and Meisy, and I think just the organization was going in a different direction. So it's just obviously not anything you would have ever thought of in the summer when I was signing, but that's how it goes. Pro sports is crazy. So that's how it ends up.
Hey, Connor, we've talked to you at the World Hockey Championships. You were glowing about Vancouver, the city. What are you going to miss most about the city?
Well, it's a lot. Obviously, I was in a pretty good routine in there. I had my restaurants, I had my coffee shops, I had my walking areas. So there's so much great about the city. Not to be corny, but I just think, when I was out in the city, you run into a fan, there's never a bad interaction. I think Vancouver kind of takes kind of a hit for, the social media side of it and, the loud, fan base online. But you ever run into a fan in person, and that's real life. And we always had a great encounter, always nice things to say. And just, that's what made the city so special, playing for those people. So I'll always enjoy that, and I'll always remember that.
Your competitiveness, your compete level, work ethic, you know what? That's what playoff teams wanted. That's why there were 8 teams calling for you yesterday. How excited are you that there's possible postseason this spring for you?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's just, last night, when I heard it could be one of those teams, I'm scoreboard watching, obviously, and, you're right back into the playoff race. And that's an exciting time of year. Those games are, something you can't replicate. You can't replicate those games coming down in April when, everybody needs those points. So excited to go help a really, really good hockey club, big team, deep, and, try to get them over the edge and hopefully, have a long, long run there.
Zach Werenski, Charlie Coyle, Rick Bowness, the head coach. Who do you know on that Columbus lineup, Connor?
Well, I played with Matthew Olivier in junior. didn't know he was going to be what he is now, but because he was a pretty good player in junior, he's still a fantastic player. He just has to be the, heavyweight champion of the world. But I know a few of those guys. I know how talented they are. Playing against them, they're just a big team. They play with a lot of pace, and they're always a hard matchup. So I feel like they're a team that's built to play in the playoffs, and I'm really excited to go join that.
When Rick asked you about things you'll miss in Vancouver, you didn't mention the media. We'll forgive you for that. But, Connor, this is short notice. We can't thank you enough for joining us. It's been a pleasure dealing with and watching you the last 5 years here in Vancouver. Thanks so much for this.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.